to know, what kind of training do you have to complete to become an astronaut? Over.
Valentina, a great question. A lot of what we do is our training is kind of like being in school. We study all the systems of our spacecraft. After that, we do a bunch of simulations to make sure we're ready for spaceflight. Over.
This is Giovanni. How do astronauts stay healthy in space? Over.
Giovanni, excellent question. Being healthy is very important. We actually have 3 exercise devices on the space station. We have an exercise bike that we can ride. We have a treadmill that we can run on, and we've got a machine that does the equivalent of lifting weights in space. Over.
This is Ariana. What made you want to become an astronaut? Over.
Ariana, I was 4 years old when we first landed people on the moon. Ever since then, I wanted to be an astronaut. Over.
This is Aiden. What is your daily routine like? Over.
Aiden, you know what? Every day is different on the space station. Some days we do maintenance, some days we do spacewalks, and most days we do a lot of science. Over.
Do the sun, stars, sunrises, and sunsets look different from the ISS compared to Earth? Over.
You know what? A lot of it's the same, but a lot of it's different. The sun and the stars look the same because we're not that much closer to them, but sunrises and sunsets are pretty spectacular from the space station, and of course we get 16 of them each day.
Hi, this is Ryan. How did your ship get you back down to Earth? Over.
Ryan, fantastic question. We always need a way back home. So our spaceship will undock from the space station, and it's got an engine on it, and we do a big engine burn that heads us back towards Earth. Over.
This is Isabella. What is the weirdest thing that has happened to you in space? Over.
Isabella, you know, I'm not even sure what the weirdest thing is. I think mostly it's very easy to lose things in space because if you don't put them down properly, they will just float away in no time flat. Over.
This is Annabelle. How do you feel emotionally and physically while in the rocket, on your way to the ISS, and on your way back? Over.
Annabelle, there's a lot of emotions involved in a launch. Mostly I'm very excited and a little bit hesitant just because you never know if everything's going to go right. But as soon as the engines light off, it's all excitement going up to the space station. Physically, it can be pretty hard on the body. You feel the force of gravity many times over when you're launching. On the way home, it's a lot of emotion there as well because at the time when I know it won't be too long till I get to see my friends and family again. And once we get back on Earth, gravity is a little hard to get adjusted to again. Over.
This is Kaylee. What was your reaction when you found out you were chosen to go to the ISS? Over.
Kaylee, I was so excited when I found out I was going to the ISS. It was something that I had been working towards my entire life, and to get the opportunity to actually do it is incredible. Over.
This is Miriam. When you return to Earth, how long does it take for you to be able to walk again? And do you experience any other side effects of being in zero gravity for extended time? Over.
Miriam, excellent question. Actually, when we get back to Earth, we have no problems walking, sort of, because of all the exercise we do up here. The biggest problem is your inner ear. Your inner ear is what gives you your balance, and it works off of gravity. And because it hasn't had gravity in a while, it is very confused when you get back on Earth. You feel really, really dizzy for a while, and it takes a while to get over that. Other than that, you've got a lot of aches and pains while your body's adjusting to gravity again. Over.
This is Giovanni, asking for Dylan. How do you eat and drink in space without spilling and damaging your equipment? Over.
Giovanni and Dylan, that is a very excellent question. Because if we don't keep our stuff in check, it will go everywhere and will damage equipment. But mostly, we have all our liquids in drink bags, so we drink out of a straw, so everything is contained. And all our food is a little bit wet, so it sticks to the spoon and doesn't go flying everywhere. Over.
This is Ariana. What do you like to do for fun in space? Over.
Ariana, honestly, I like to go flying through the space station like I'm Wonder Woman. I like to look out the window and see our beautiful planet, and I like to spend time with my crewmates. Over.
Makata. This is Makata asking for Liliani. Are you able to bring your phones and other personal items with you to the ISS? Over.
Mikado to Liliana, we actually are not allowed to bring our phones up here. We don't have access to cell towers, so they wouldn't do any good. But we are allowed to bring some personal items. I've got some pictures of my family, so I can always have them close to me. Over.
This is Aiden asking for Omar. When you first come back to Earth, what will be your first meal? Over.
Aiden and Omar, you know, that is something we talk about a lot. I haven't actually decided, but when it gets close time to come home, the folks on the ground will ask us what we want to eat. Last time when I came home, it was Thanksgiving, and so we had a turkey dinner as our first meal. Over.
This is Valentina asking for Julia. What do astronauts do if they fall sick in space? Over.
Valentina and Julia, we try very hard to make sure we don't get sick in space. Actually, we go into quarantine much like everybody on Earth is doing right now. We spend several weeks in quarantine to make sure that we don't have any illnesses, so we are not sick when we go into space, and we don't take any diseases up to the crew on the space station. Over.
This is Kaylee asking for Amaya. How does it feel to be inside the ISS all the time? Does the environment inside the ISS fluctuate? Over.
Kaylee and Amaya, it's kind of like being in an office building all the time. The temperature and humidity doesn't fluctuate much. Sometimes it does a little bit, but it's kind of like just being indoors, but with a spectacular view outside the window. Over.
This is Miriam asking for Ashley. If you weren't an astronaut, what job would you have? Over.
Miriam and Ashley, you know, it's something I've thought about. I've worked for NASA my whole career, but I think if I weren't working for NASA, I would probably be something in the environmental fields protecting our planet. Over.
This is Annabelle asking for Zane. How does it feel to experience 16 sunrises and 16 sunsets every day? Over.
Annabelle and Zane, good question. You know, we don't actually, since it's kind of hard to see all the sunrises and sunsets every day because we're working so hard. So most of the time I only get to see a couple, but it's always very special when I get to see a sunrise or a sunset. Over.
Hi, this is Ryan asking for Brooke. How do you return to be in low gravity places? Over.
Ryan and George, you know, it's really hard to train to be in low gravity. When I was first an astronaut, we took a plane ride and did some special maneuvers in the plane where we got to float for about 25 seconds at a time, and that's the only real training we have to be in without gravity. Over.
This is Isabella. What do you eat while in space, and what is your favorite food? Over.
You know, Isabella, one of the best things about the International Space Station is we get international food. So we've got food from all around the world. But my favorite food, I think, is actually the curry that we get from Japan. The Japanese curry is the best. Over. This was wonderful. I really appreciate being able to talk to everybody, and I hope you all will consider working for NASA someday. Over. Over and out.
Taxi 517, runway 25 left, wind 60 degrees, 89.